5 hours.
What about a piss break?
Oh, hello, everybody. We are now live. Hopefully you weren't picking up the audio chatter in the background. That could have been interesting. Anyway, as you can see today, along with my buddy Mike, we have Victor Vitale on the show. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we were having a little pre-show fun and forgot we were broadcasting, but that's all right. That's how the show goes. We just we let it fly, and that's the way it is. If you don't like it, there's that off button. Kindly click it and have a good day. So, yeah, as you can tell, our guest today is Victor Vitale from the Cigar Agency. How's it going, Victor?
Going great. How are you guys?
We're doing very, very well. We're honored to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yep. And along with Victor being on the show, Mikey and I both are smoking two different cigars of Victor's. Mike's smoking, I believe, the original Hammer and Sickle, and the blend has been changed, I believe. Is that correct, Victor?
No, that's the Hammer and Sickle tradition. It's been the same blend since 2008.
Oh, there you go. See, my misinformation. That's why we got Victor on the show, to make sure we don't screw up and say anything that's not true. And I'm smoking the Tortuga, the limited edition 2011.
We made it 2 minutes into the show before you screwed up. Do you know that?
That's good. That's a record for me. But listen, why don't we get this show on the road here? And Victor, we'll start it off always. Tell everybody about yourself. There are people who may not know you.
All right, my name is Victor Vitale. I own the Cigar Agency Distribution. Been in the cigar business for 17 years. Originally got in pursuing my father's passion for smoking premium cigars. I worked retail, also did a regional management for a very well-known great cigar company, and did several sales, consulting, and marketing programs for big-name companies. And in 2006, I started the Cigar Agency.
Nice. So, Cigar Agency. Let's. Why don't we're going to get off the little path a little bit. Usually we go into what's the first smoke you smoke. We'll save all that stuff for later. Let's get right into your brands. And why don't we start off with the Ortsac?
All right. What exactly do you want to know about the Ortsac?
Tell them all behind the. I know what's behind it, but they may not know about the name and the date. And tell us a little bit about the blend.
All right. The brand has evolved since I created it in 2007. Originally, it was a value-priced cigar. It had the original name was Direct Target Havana, Cuba. The original name actually had nothing to do with Ortsac. Ortsac came about 3 months after the project was launched. Originally came in a 50 caliber. Oh, that's the new packaging. That's the bulletproof you have. But the original packaging was a 50 caliber ammunition can that was spray painted, and it had a cedar insert fitting 72 unbanded cigars. And on the side it said Direct Target Havana, Cuba. And the whole concept was to create an affordable blend that consumers would see as a great cigar, opposing the popular belief that Cubans are the best cigars on the planet, of which I disagree. I don't know how you folks feel about that, but I tend to disagree with that.
So do I.
Yeah, we're pretty well with you. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Cuba makes great cigars. They're just not the best. You know, I believe that when Fidel Castro took over and moved people out of their farms, out of their factories, they left. They went to countries like Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, and we're now offered excellent cigars that mirror the Cuban heritage from Cuba, because these are the folks that actually have the heritage. They took it to a different country. So back to Ortsac. Ortsac was a very affordable cigar. It was retailed for about $3.95 unbanded, and it did very well. But what I wanted to do with the program was I wanted to make it a more recognizable name, a name that people wouldn't forget, that goes along with the story. So I did some research on the embargo, and I found out that JFK and the CIA had discussed taking out Fidel Castro in 1962, and that program was called Operation Ortsac.
All right. Now, I've also heard that, isn't that Castro backwards?
That's right.
There we go. Well, let's go on to let's go
well,
on now.
Wait,
that
wait.
blend, has that blend changed?
I wanted to ask why the change in the box format from the ammunition to the what is that now? It's almost like a cooler.
I'll show
like
you it again.
Self-sided cooler.
Yeah, that is what you're looking at. There is first of its kind in the cigar business. That's an EVA material box with a zipper closure. It's bulletproof material. It floats. It's waterproof. So the aftermarket, you can use it pretty much for whatever you want. And the evolution of the brand actually went from a unbranded, unbanded cigar in an ammunition can to a foot-banded cigar in wooden boxes. And then it quickly outgrew its image. The brand had a really solid following. So in 2010, I had introduced the line extension called Bulletproof. So you have an original Ortsac, which is still a very affordable value cigar, and you have the premium version, which is the Bulletproof version box that you have there.
I'm going to use it on my next trip through the airport, see if I can get stuff through without any issues.
Yeah, I haven't tried that yet, so you definitely let me know how you do.
He'll call you for bail.
You'll know if I'm not if I'm not available for the next show, you'll know why. Well, Victor, let's continue on. Let's go on to another one of your lines. And I'm going off a line card that Victor was kind enough to send to me, and the Ashford Bentley.
Yeah, the Ashford Bentley is an affordable cigar. You know, it's an everyday man cigar, and the whole concept of Ashford Bentley was to bring dignity back to the affordable cigar. And I was in a cigar store about 3 years ago, and there was a group of guys sitting around all smoking cigars, and I was talking to the owner of the shop, and you know, we were having a couple of good laughs, and we couldn't help ourselves overhearing the conversation of the group sitting around the table. And they were asking each other what they were smoking. The first guy had a Padron 1926, a very good cigar. The other guy had a Fuente Opus X. The other guy had a Diamond Crown. You know, everybody was smoking a super premium Rolex, Rolls-Royce, Bentley type cigar. Mm-hmm. And this one guy who was enjoying the lifestyle was kind of embarrassed to say that he was smoking a second or a throwout. And it was almost like, you know, in the old movies where you hear the record kind of skip when the guy says, you know, I'm smoking a factory throwout. So the owner of the shop says, hey, can you make something for a guy like this, you know, so he doesn't have to lose his dignity every time someone's smoking a really good cigar or asks him what he's smoking? And I said, yeah, you know, that's a great idea. And that's where Ashford Bentley came from.
Nice.
It's an affordable cigar. It retails for $1.50 to $1.75, depending on what state you're in. It comes in a bundle, 20 cigars, unbanded, one size only, 6 3/4 by 48, and it has a pretty healthy following.
There you go, yeah. Mikey's the king of bundle, man.
I've never actually tried them, and I'm like the cheapest bastard on the planet.
Then that's for you. It's for you, and you can keep your dignity. You know, imagine if you're sitting around a group of guys smoking Padron, Fuente, Diamond Crown, and other expensive things. You get to say you're smoking an Ashford Bentley and not a throwout.
Check it out.
There you go, Mikey. See? Look at that. Even more educational today on the show. Well, Victor, let's go into... Now, I'm going to butcher this name, Victor, and I apologize ahead of time because I'm horrible with pronunciations, but I'm going to try it. It's the La Mezcla Cubana?
La Mezcla Cubana, yes. That brand comes in a natural, a Maduro, and a sun-grown, and it comes in 4 sizes. And the beauty of that cigar is you're getting a great quality cigar at an affordable price. Now, every time I create a new brand or a new blend, the constitution of every project that I create starts with affordable luxury. that's what I have in mind every time I create a brand. I want to make sure that a person on a budget can afford a great cigar in any lifestyle, because let's face it, these days everyone's on a budget.
Yep.
Whether you drive a Hyundai or a Cadillac, you're still on a budget. So
Yep.
wherever your budget is, I want to make sure that you can afford one of the brands that I create. So La Mezcla Cubana comes in 4 sizes: Churchill, Torpedo, Robusto, and a 6x60 size, a Titan. The beauty of it is the consumer can buy any one of those sizes at the same retail price, and the retail price is $6 for a cigar. Now, of course, depending on what state you're in, OTP tax, that'll change.
Yeah.
But the original La Mezcla Cubana was the shade wrapper, and it's a Nicaraguan Puro. But when you smoke it, if you're used to smoking Nicaraguan Puros, you're never going to think that this is a Nicaraguan Puro, because it's a lighter, more mild cigar. The reason why I created a more lighter, mild cigar using lower primings is because I met a lot of consumers that want to try cigars from Nicaragua, but these are mild smokers. And every time they smoke something from Nicaragua, they hate it. And they hate it because it's blowing their head off. So these guys, they read about Nicaragua over and over again, and they say, geez, to the retailer, I want to try a Nicaraguan cigar. Well, you're a Macanudo smoker. Nicaragua's not for you. And this poor guy has a terrible experience with Nicaragua, contrary to everything that he's reading about Nicaragua. So the goal was to create a more mild version and a more milder offering from Nicaragua to someone seeking out that flavor.
Nice. We got a lot of people there. At the one thing, Victor, and one of the reasons we wanted you on the show is, and we're seeing it a little bit in our chat room, is a lot of people just aren't familiar with you or your blends, and that's why I really want to focus and go over all your blends, because some may have tried it and didn't realize it's your blend and related you with that blend, or they may not have tried it, and we really want to get them to try your blends, because I'll be honest, he makes some really good cigars, and I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up his ass. It's the truth, and that's how I am. And the Tortuga that I'm smoking is one of them. So that's why we're focusing on all your blends, and we really want to just go over that, and we'll get into a whole bunch of other stuff as well. Why don't you want to ask him anything, Mike?
The other part of this is it's going to be nice when we put it up on the website afterwards. Of course, I mean, we'll get probably a couple thousand hits on the website, to watch the video, and then everybody can actually see and hear about your different cigars, and then find out for themselves, get information on the web. And you have that at was it cigaragency.com, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's the distribution company website.
And we'll include that in the post and everything, so everybody can get there. And you can get Victor's on Twitter at Victor Vitale. You can follow him on Twitter too and get all the updates and everything. I will say this, Victor, you got a very unique style of the way you see the industry and the way you're packaging and the way you blend, and we'll definitely get into that in a second. But let's go on to the Hammer and Sickle line, which Mike is smoking right now.
That's what I was going to ask him about this one, and also along with this. Now, this was the one, wasn't it, Mike, that you were getting me that humidor?
Yes, the crystal case that I sent you that busted.
Yeah,
yes, that's
UPS
the one.
decided to throw it up against the wall a couple times and bust the living hell out of the thing.
I sent him one, Victor. I had the whole container that they come in, the crystal there, the glass.
The crystal box.
Yeah, and he really wanted it. I sent it, packaged it up. UPS got it. It was destroyed.
Well, UPS are overachievers, so
yeah. So
you must have thought that's how you wanted it delivered.
Assembly required.
Apparently.
Yeah, go ahead and give us a taste of what your Hammer and Sickle is made of and how it is.
I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead.
The The Hammer and Sickle is a very easy blend. It's a 5-year aged Connecticut wrapper with 3-year aged Dominican binder and filler. It's a very forward cigar for the person who categorizes themselves as a mild to medium-bodied smoker. And I categorize myself as a medium to full-bodied smoker, and I can still enjoy that cigar, which is pretty rare for me, because I tend to not enjoy as much a mild cigar versus a fuller bodied cigar. But what you should be experiencing there is a lot of smooth, creamy type tones.
Yeah, it is. It is. I had a nasty little split in a wrapper. It started to come open here.
Uh-oh.
You chewing on that cigar, or are you smoking it?
Mike sent me this one too. I mean, he sends me busted stuff all the time. Look at this.
I won't tell you where that cigar was prior to me sending it to you.
That cigar, the band on that cigar is Hammer and Sickle. And if I may, I'll give you a little bit of a history on how that brand was created.
Absolutely, go ahead.
That trademark is owned by a Russian vodka company. And I met the chairman of the Russian vodka company about 3 years ago at a cigar dinner, maybe 3.5 years ago, at a cigar dinner in Massachusetts. And I was hosting the cigar dinner. It was a great time, a lot of great people, and his vodka was being poured there that night, which is an excellent, excellent brand of Russian imported vodka. It's 6 times filtered, 6 times distilled Russian winter wheat. If you haven't tried it and you're a vodka drinker, go out and try it, because it's worth it. So he had approached me at the dinner and said that he and his company wanted to pursue the tobacco industry. They wanted to make a cigar, and if I would be able to do this for him. And at that time, I guess during the course of that year, or you know, in that time, or even today, a lot of people want to make their own brand, and some people are very serious about it. Others just want to know what it's like to be in the cigar business, and you know, they take a quick shot at it. As you guys know, brands come and go very, very quickly in this industry.
Yes, they do.
And you know, I kind of brushed this guy off a little bit. And I said, yeah, sure, you know, I'm interested, you know, let's get together in a week or so, and, you know, let's hear what's on your mind. So we make an appointment, which I thought was cool, because usually people are like, I'll call you, but, you know, he whipped out his phone and said, okay, I'm available on this date, this time, which I was impressed by. And he showed up in my office. He had his laptop with him, and we sat down in my boardroom, and he basically walked me through what he had been thinking about for a long time, which was, he had the band already designed. He had a packaging concept at that time. It wasn't a finished package, but a packaging concept. And what part of the market that he was interested in targeting. And I was just extremely impressed by this. And, you know, I sat back on my chair, and he looked at me, he says, well, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with my presentation? And I said, no, I really wasn't expecting you to be this far advanced in the whole thing. So, needless to say, I took him down, and we toured a couple of factories that I was doing business with, and the brand was launched. It took a full 9 months to get the brand launched from that point, and I settled on an awesome cigar factory managed by Henke Kellner to assist me in designing this blend and this product. And I think that we do a great job in that factory.
Victor, let me ask you this: is there to me there appears to be, with the packaging of the Hammer and Sickle and the vodka, is there a correlation between the packaging and that bottle?
There is. What the folks at Hammer and Sickle wanted to do was they wanted to keep symmetry in their product design, and as well as offer something different to cigar smokers. And the challenge for me is when they come up with new designs and ask me to make a cigar that fit this product, it's an extreme challenge because I have to come up with a product that fits such a wonderfully, beautifully designed to put this product into market. So that's extremely difficult because in today's market, you have a lot of very well packaged products, but there's no substance. And the consumers are smart. You know, they're very much aware of you know, this product is all package and no cigar, you know, all sizzle, no steak.
Right. Mm-hmm.
The challenge for me is to create the steak to go along with the sizzle. And I think that so far, judging by the response that I've had in the marketplace, that we were able to do that together.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I know one of them's clear. There's a difference between one of them's clear and now they're black, yeah. Right? The packaging.
The Black Crystal was the Moscow City brand for 2010. It was a limited edition 2010 that was in a Black Crystal 10-count box. Those are they're no more. If I suggest strongly, if you see those on a retailer's shelves, smoke one because it's a fantastic cigar.
Nice. Well, before we go any farther, let's take a quick moment here, and I want to give a shout out to our sponsors who continue to make our show ad free, so you guys don't have to sit there and be interrupted by these ads that have nothing to do with any of us. So I want to give a shout out to East Coast Cigars. That's www.eastcoastcigarcompany.com, and also to rodrigocigars.com. That'll be www.rodrigocigars.com. And to our newest sponsor, who's been on the site for a little bit, Mohawk Distribution LLC. Also go over there, check those fine folks out, and show them some love. So thanks to all our sponsors for getting us to go ad-free. We much appreciate that. And also, make sure you guys hang around. We got some nice giveaways thanks to East Coast Cigars. And also, Victor Vitale is going to give away to some lucky viewer in the chat room today a Double Eagle. And since we're mentioning Double Eagle, Victor, I know we still got other cigars. Let's go to that one there and explain a little bit about that.
This is a Nicaraguan Puro, but unlike the La Mezcla Cubana, this Nicaraguan Puro is a very potent cigar, but it's very well balanced, which is, in my opinion, hard to find in today's cigar market. What I've been finding in a lot of fuller-bodied offerings is that, to me, they're all razor blades and, you know, like a volcanic eruption in your mouth. And, you know, I'm very conscious on strength and taste. And I think if you're not paying attention when you're smoking a cigar, you can easily confuse the difference between strength and taste.
Yep. Yep.
And what I try to do is, when I make a cigar, I try to have both, which is very difficult. It's very difficult to have both. Now, this particular cigar, there's only 1,000 made for the United States. It comes in a square crystal. You can see the bottom there. It's a 54 ring gauge cigar, Nicaraguan Criollo wrapper, all Nicaraguan filler and binder, and it's a fantastic cigar. It's called Double Eagle. You can see that. The sticker
That's
on
nice.
there.
Nice. That is nice.
And it's a pretty neat concept. The tobacco is very well aged. Some of the tobacco is from 1999. Other components are from 2006, so it's a very well balanced blend.
Nice.
Now what's the MSRP on that, if you don't mind saying?
You should find it at retail stores for $25 because it's a limited edition, and the tobacco is very old, and
right.
Of course, the packaging has something to do with it as well.
Right. Well, that's nice. So you guys see that Victor's going to definitely give that away today, and we're going to let Victor choose somebody in the chat room. So, you know, you guys stick around, be active, get your questions up for Victor, and we're going to let Victor pick one lucky winner to win that Double Eagle. So stick around for that. All right, Victor. Well, let's continue our tour here, and let's get into
wait.
Since we just
hold on a second, Mike.
What? I'm getting cut off again. The second time you cut me off.
Flooding away
what the
here,
hell?
buddy. Hold on. I wanted to find out the hammer and sickle with the glass boxes that you do for them. Is that a continuing thing that you're going to continue to do, or is it something that you're going to just do limited and then switch over to regular?
The hammer and sickle tradition comes in a crystal, K5 crystal, which is the grade of the crystal, and that's a continuing thing. Okay. It's not a footprint for the retailer shelves. It's not a tray and refill program. Every single box will come with the integrity of being complete, both crystal and cigars. And since I had mentioned packaging, there's the perception value of the packaging is very high because it's crystal, and there's a lot you can do with that packaging afterwards. Now, because of the relationship that the vodka company has with the bottle company, we get a very affordable price on this packaging. So, you know, a lot of folks, you know, I just want to make an attempt to diffuse a potential negativity out there, which could be, you know, okay, you spend X amount of dollars on the packaging, I can't smoke the box. Right. You know, I've heard this before, and you're right. You want substance to be in the cigar, because when you're a cigar smoker, you want substance to be in there. It's like drinking wine. I mean, you're not going to drink the bottle. You're certainly not going to lick the bottle when you're done.
Maybe.
You want substance. So I can assure you that there is substance there, and the box comes in an extremely affordable price. Slightly, and some people would find this amazing, slightly above the cost of a traditional wood box.
Nice. Well, that's good to know. I mean, that's good for people who are going to be watching now, that they understand that. And like you said, I mean, it's not, you're not throwing a 25-cent cigar in a $100 box.
Yeah. I mean, you could, and Victor's right. You could do a lot with that. I've seen somebody do a fishbowl out of it. I mean, that's pretty cool. There's a good question, Victor. Here we go. Tad wants to know, how about doing a cigar in the bottle? I
was going to ask, like the Opus
kind
X.
of like the Opus X.
Yeah, that's actually been done before. I think the Opus X. What did they put it in? Armagnac or something, right? Is that what they did? Or
I don't know how many they've done. I know they've done one. I actually saw it. A buddy up in the Poconos has it. He has the actual bottle with the Opus inside of it. And I thought they were coming out with another one too, but I can't remember the liquor that they put it in.
You know, the chairman of the vodka company is always coming out with this crazy packaging, because he goes to China all the time, and he has the opportunity to work with the manufacturing company there, and there's always something interesting coming out. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to present that to me in our January 2012 meeting.
That'd be cool. I know. I guess I was up at Expo or Fest this year, Cigar Expo or Cigar Fest, and the this year or last year, and the vodka was there. You had the vodka bottles, and I mean they're cool looking bottles by themselves. I mean, I wanted to snag one, but I couldn't get close enough. So. Plus, I probably couldn't run fast enough. So.
That vodka, I'll tell you, Victor, I met Victor 2 Fridays ago, I believe it was, and he was kind enough to give me some. That vodka, to me, is the smoothest vodka I've ever had. It's almost tasteless, kind of in a sense, but it's so smooth. And before I knew it, I mean, we were filling it up. Before I knew it, I had a buzz on, and I'm like, Jesus, I didn't even know I was drinking vodka for a minute there. It's I actually just picked up a bottle of it myself. That's finally you can finally get it in New York.
Yeah, they're very proud of the progression of that brand and that product, and rightfully so, because in my opinion, they nailed it. If you can nail a product in today's market, it's very difficult to create a brand of vodka in a saturated marketplace. There are so many vodkas out there, and it's very difficult to compete for shelf space on a bar and a liquor store. I don't know if you guys have ever entertained that before, but it's very, very difficult, and their vodka is growing and progressing very fast on a global base.
Yeah.
So they should be very proud, and you seem to enjoy it. And I think endorsing it again. If you're a vodka drinker, you want to try this.
And it's relatively priced right. I mean, it's not really expensive at all, I thought.
They must have heard me say affordable luxury so many times before we met. I don't know. Maybe that they've certainly nailed affordable luxury. I got to agree with you there.
Yep. I totally agree with you there. So where were we on the Moscow City? I believe was the next one. We must have scared Barry away. He left. What the hell happened?
That's all right.
Let's talk about the Moscow City, Victor, and definitely the packaging again. I keep going back to it because to me, you have the most unique packaging out of anybody I've seen with your cigars. I really have to be honest with you, and I keep going back to it because to me, if you haven't seen it, go online, Google it. Look at the Moscow City. Look at the Berlin Wall. I mean, the packaging on his stuff is incredible, and we'll get into how he comes about that because we had this conversation. I think it's very unique. So go ahead and go on about the Moscow City.
Well, the Moscow City was introduced in 2010, and it was a limited edition. There was only 1,000 boxes made of that product, 10-count boxes. The product, the cigar, I use a Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, which, in my opinion, is one of the best Maduro wrappers that you can use. Actually, there are two, in my opinion, and one is Mexican broadleaf Maduro, and the other is Connecticut broadleaf Maduro. And what I find is that both of those wrappers yield the most consistent, authentic Maduro taste. Now, the filler and binder in that cigar, there's a little bit of Nicaraguan filler, and the rest of it is Dominican filler and binder. The blend is full body. But again, full-bodied, a little sweet, and very well balanced. Now, the 2011 is a little bit different than the 2010. The 2011 was blended to be even more fuller body. So there's a little bit more Nicaraguan tobacco in the filler, but the wrapper and the binder are still the same. The new box, instead of it being in a black crystal box, the new box is pewter, which is just hitting the marketplace right now. So it's fresh on the shelves. The first time the pewter box was shipped was in the beginning of this month. So check out your local tobacconist. He most likely has the new pewter box for Moscow City.
Nice. Which one? I believe it's. I could be wrong, Victor. The Berlin Wall. Which one has the copper band? The actual copper in the band?
Yeah, that's the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, I had that cigar for the first time when I met you, and I'm not a mild guy at all. I'm a more like yourself. I'm a more medium, really full-bodied kind of guy. And I was telling Mikey about it because he's a mild guy, and I told him he's got to definitely smoke this cigar. But that cigar I love the band, and for a mild stick, it's got lots of flavors for a mild stick. So tell us about the Berlin Wall.
The Berlin Wall has a copper band. Underneath the copper band, you'll see a paper band that resembles concrete. The box that it comes in is authentic Pakistani marble, which is known for their marble. So that's imported here to the United States. The cigars are imported here to the United States. The packaging of that product happens here at distribution. The blend on that is very unique. It's a 2006 Honduran Criollo wrapper, and it also shares Nicaraguan and Honduran binder and filler. It's, in my opinion, it's a very good cigar. Like you say, it's kind of leaning on the edge of full body, but it's not necessarily like full body. It's more of like medium plus to me. Now, some folks, depending on what you smoke, might think that it's a mild to medium cigar, but the goal intended was to be medium fringe full.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the package, again, they go back. This thing's it's in a marble looking case with like a goldish emblem on the top. The packaging is just unfreaking believable. I can't get over the packaging. That's the one thing I can't get over is the packaging. It just blows my mind. It's like, I tell everybody, it's like going to dinner, right? You eat with your eyes. You know, you look at a nice steak, and I think cigar industry is the same way, at least for me. you know, like a nice band or good packaging or a good looking cigar, that's what I look at first, you know, and I think you nailed it.
Sure. You know, everybody uses their eyes first. I mean, even, you know, when you choose anything in life, your eyes are first. And, you know, as long as, in my opinion, as long as there's steak to back up the sizzle, then, you know, that's how we're successful with the progress of these brands, because the cigar is really stands up to the image of the box.
Right. Yeah, and it's nice. Like Mike, you just built a walk-in humidor in your house.
Yep.
And boxes like that, I think, are so nice to put in. You know, if you just have a regular desktop humidor or something, you usually have to take them out of the box, and then you have to sit the box somewhere to display it or whatever. But, you know, a nice walk-in or a nice big cabinet humidor, those boxes are just perfect to display. You know, let everybody see them. It's just like a little piece of artwork.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And the cigars are great. We're not taking away from the cigars. It's just that packaging. I haven't seen anybody else besides, you know, Tom keeps mentioning Gurkha and their little quirky way of they package things, but I think yours has more of a elegance to it and a more thought out design than that. I'm not knocking Gurkha. I'm just saying that to me that stands out. That's what I look for. I mean, the cigars have to be good, of course, or otherwise I'm not going to buy a box of cigars just because they look pretty. They got to taste good. But I just think your presentation is very unique, and I'm just telling you, I think it's great. That's all.
Elegance is definitely the goal when the packaging is designed, and I can't take credit for the packaging. The packaging is all done by the vodka folks. They do an excellent job coming out every year with something new, unique, and fascinating. Because let's face it, the number one question asked by consumers, and you know, I'm sure your consumers will comment on the chat, but the number one question asked by consumers that walk into a cigar store is what's new. And even if you don't want to ask that question, you want to see with your eyes what's new. And in my opinion, the hardest thing to do is to walk around in circles in a walk-in humidor and try to figure out what you haven't seen last week or a month ago.
Right.
Everything looks essentially the same. Everything has that very traditional cedar box or paper dress box look to it. There's nothing wrong with that look.
No.
The issue comes up in marketing, whereas how do you stand out from the rest? Because the original selection or the original hook has to get someone to want to try your product, because they don't know there's steak behind the sizzle unless they actually try it.
Right.
And the way to get people to try cigars for the first time is, of course, you guys would be the number one way is to have you know, folks like you really tout a good brand, and the other way is to differentiate yourself from the shelf.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's another, like you said, with the alcohol, cigars are in the same boat. You know, humidors tend to be a lot smaller than a whole liquor store or you know, wine store that's out there. So everybody's fighting for that space to display.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. There is a lot of struggle for shelf space, and you know, sometimes the retailer gets caught in the middle because you know, genuinely everybody is friendly in this business. I don't know what your experience is in this business, but in my 17 years, everyone is very friendly in this business, and you know, sometimes it's very hard on the retailer to put someone else's product in the best shelf space than another's.
Yep.
So you know, they get caught in the cross there, and then the consumer who's in a hurry is always going to buy from high-level shelf space, so he doesn't have to bend down or get on his toes to reach up to the top. Because you know, the guy that comes in June, July, and August that's just going on the golf course,
Right,
picking out a handful of cigars, he's just going to quickly walk around the humidor and grab a couple of handfuls here and there, and then he's out.
Yep. Yep, you're absolutely right. Well, let's get in. We got a couple more. I know, Victor. Let's get in. I'm smoking the Tortuga. This is the edition limitada 2011, but there's also just a regular Tortuga, correct?
That's true.
So
yeah.
why don't we talk about that? And I do want to know what the 215 and the fingerprint represents.
Tortuga, the brand itself was, the concept started in 2007. I had called my father. I remember that day I had called him. I speak to my father almost daily, a few times a week, and I get his opinion on a lot of things. And I wanted to make my next brand with an idea of his. I wanted him to get more involved in that part of the process. And I asked him, actually, it wasn't easy. I had asked him for weeks prior. I said, come on, come up with a name, come up with something different, come up with something cool. And I'll never forget the day I called him and said, all right, what do you got? And he says, Tortuga. And I got so excited, I hung up the phone and I went right to the USPTO and I registered the name Tortuga, and then just like that, the brand became. So I had contracted a factory in Honduras to make the original blend. The original blend was the 1950. 1950 represents my father's birth year. And the Tortuga 1950 was a fuller-bodied Maduro cigar. It had 4 sizes. And the problem that I had with that factory in Honduras is they couldn't source the original wrapper anymore that I had selected for that brand. And the first run was very small and it sold out quickly. There was only 50 boxes of each size, totaling 200 cigars. So I had 2 choices. I could either reblend the product at that factory and run the risk of running out of a different wrapper again, or I could try a newer factory or a different factory, excuse me, not newer, a different factory where I could make that cigar, and that's what I did. The Tortuga 1950, I make that with Christian Aroa. It uses a Mexican broadleaf Maduro wrapper and Nicaraguan binder and filler. It's to me, it's a medium-bodied cigar, but it still has that classic, authentic Maduro flavor to it. I created the Tortuga 1948 as my mother's birth year. That's more of an elegant style cigar. It has a Connecticut shade wrapper, Dominican binder and filler. Very smooth, very creamy, mild, a milder type of cigar, but overall very elegant. It has a very elegant style to it, the Tortuga 1948. And those 2 brands were out on the market since late 2008. They started getting traction in 2009. Because of the limited production on those brands, that's an authorized dealer only brand. So you can find those cigars possibly at your local tobacconist, but it all depends on if that state was opened up for distribution. And the reason why it's designed that way is to make sure that once a retailer is appointed, that they get consistent stock and they'll never run out. Because the way production is on that brand, if several hundred retailers are opened all at once, it would create a severe back order issue on the product. And nothing turns off a consumer or retailer or even myself more than having product on back order and not being able to fill a need. The 215 Edición Limitada 2011 is a very special cigar. It took me 2 years to develop that cigar and that cigar blend. It's Nicaraguan Corojo wrapper, Honduran binder, and Dominican filler. It's I call it a 3-region style blend. It's very tasty. In my opinion, it's one of the most tasty cigars out there. It's not full body by all means, although if you're a mild cigar smoker, you might consider it fuller body. It has a lot of mouthfeel. It's very big, almost like if you were drinking a wine, you would call a big wine oaky and jammy. And this cigar definitely fits that bill.
How you like it, Mike?
I told Victor when I met him, I think it's it's the best cigar that he makes.
Ooh, sounds like you're chewing on it.
I'm loving it. I'm loving the taste that it leaves in your mouth, and I know that comment's probably going to give me some shit in the chat room. But Tom will probably be the first one to jump on that. But I'm digging it. I'm enjoying it. So Let's take a question from the chat before we get to one cigar that I'm pretty confident not too many people know much about or would even relate you to that cigar, and we'll get into that for a second. But Jay Rebel had a question. He wanted to know what are some of your favorite smokes that aren't your own?
That's a good question. I smoke a lot of cigars. One of my all-time favorites from years and years and years ago was Ashton BSG. I still think they make a wonderful cigar. It's a great company. They make excellent, consistent product. Fuente is still a great product out there. They continue to make very consistent cigars, and in my opinion, anytime Carlito makes a new brand, he outdoes himself every time. I enjoy Pete Johnson cigars. Takawae, I enjoy a lot from Pepin. I think they make very good cigars. So, I'll actually show you some of the. This is on my table for smoking.
Oh, nice stick.
You guys know this brand here. This is.
Yep.
This is my smoking for this week.
It's a nice stick. Really enjoyable stick.
Ernie Carrillo, longtime friend of mine. Very good product.
Yeah, I just reviewed that not long ago.
EP Carrillo. This is that's the Logoria Cubana. I'm not sure if he was involved in that particular one before he had left for EP Carrillo, but I smoke EP Carrillo cigars. Here's a
a ton.
Yeah, he'll be on our show January 7th, by the way. Our next show, Jonathan Drew.
Yep, Jonathan makes great cigars. Liga Privada, I smoke those.
Yep.
I always say there's no monogamy in cigar smoking, and I truly believe in that. And what I find is that consumers, including myself, I'll smoke the same brand. 50% of my cigar consumption will be the same brand, or sometimes up to 50% of my cigar consumption. But the other 50%, or even more at times, are exploring. And that's what cigar smoking is all about. Now, here's another one I picked up while I was in Florida. This brand, actually, the proceeds from this brand go to supporting the CRA against the fight the FDA is trying to win.
Yes.
Or shall we say our legislators are trying to give the FDA another job.
Uh-oh. Are you touching on something that we should go over?
Not at all. Not at all. But I enjoy the business. I enjoy cigars, and I really, truly enjoy new stuff. Just like any consumer, I still consider myself a cigar consumer.
Yep.
Not only do I make brands, but I also consume everyone else's brands, and that's the beauty of this business.
Yeah.
The beauty of this business is smoking as many cigars as you can, and different cigars all the time.
I agree 100%. It's nice to try everything that's out there, and I don't think I'll ever live long enough to do it, but it's great to try.
You know what's really good too? I smoked last week Padilla Artemis. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It has a orange band on it.
No, I haven't seen it.
That's a pretty good one too. And I'm about to try. I don't know if I showed you this one yet, but a good friend of mine works for Altadas, and he gave me this green Butera. I've never seen it before, or the band is green. Excuse me. The wrapper on it's really nice actually. So I'm gonna smoke this one later on too.
Nice. Let's see, Victor. Tad's got a question. He wants to know: are your cigars available online shops or only at B&Ms?
Both.
Both. There you go, Tad. Both.
I'm heavier in B&Ms or mom and pops, brick and mortars, whatever your term is for them. My distribution is in over 400 stores in the United States. I'm a global company. I also sell to Canada, Dubai, Germany, and soon to be Portugal. And that's growing.
Nice.
So, but you could pretty much find them anywhere in the United States. I guess depending on what zip code you live in, if we have a merchant there or not.
Now, my brother-in-law had a question up there. I remember seeing Do you have your own factories or do you outsource?
I outsource everything that I make, and the way I feel about that is my heritage, although I have 17 years experience in this business, I'm still a student of not only cigars, but I'm a student of the industry. And every day is a new learning experience for me. And I think I was telling Mike when we had met that I keep data on everything. I'm constantly educating myself, and I keep an Excel spreadsheet on almost everything I do to follow the data and follow the trends in the marketplace. So when it's time to create a new brand, I know exactly where the market is going, and not because the market has been there for a year, but you know, I try to use my crystal ball as accurately as I can, and the only way to do that is to keep data. But I partnered with who I consider some of the best cigar blenders, tobacco growers, and cigar factories out there, and I let them do their thing, which they do very well, and we try to do our thing here.
Good.
Right. Well, it's like getting back to the Tortuga, Victor, when you and I were talking about it, and you said it, that packaging on that box and the cigars with a nice dark wrapper, it's kind of like opening a box of Godiva chocolates. And I agree with you on it. I mean, again, it comes back to your ingenuity and the way you look at design. And we were going to get into that as you just mentioned. You know, you're very statistics. You look at a lot of statistics and packaging and creating blends and what you see in the market. And I think that's what separates you from a lot of way other people look at the industry. And I commend you for that.
Thank you. Now, you know, I happen to love chocolate since you mentioned it. I mean, here's, I always have chocolate wherever I go. You know, and there might be some of my retail partners here that will laugh. I was just at Thompson's in Florida, and I show up to the meeting, and I laid out a bunch of chocolate, and those guys just get a kick out of it. And then Bob, the owner, came in, and he was eating peanut butter on celery, and we had the chocolate out. We were sprinkling the chocolate on the peanut butter. So that's how our meeting started, actually. You know, instead of lighting up a cigar and pulling out order forms and pens and pads of paper, we we started out with chocolate, celery, and peanut butter.
They all go together.
Yeah, I think so. You know, the only thing missing was a great bottle of French red wine or a California Cab or something.
Get them all hyped up on that sugar, and they'll be like, yeah, we'll buy.
But
well, yeah, it does. Let's get into a cigar, Victor. It's a cigar that I've seen locally up here in New York, and I'm not sure many people may have heard about it. Maybe they have, but it's got a uniqueness about it. Again, we're back to that word uniqueness, and it's the Second Growth. And why don't you tell people about the whole concept behind that cigar and who it really it's really geared for, if there is a person, which I believe there is, but I could be wrong. It's just my own perception. But why don't we go over that a little bit, the Second Growth?
Second Growth is a very unique cigar, like you say. It's also it's a very special cigar. The chairman of the vodka company wanted to create something very special, and he had the opportunity to buy these French oak barrels from a very well-known, highly reputable wine company in France. And his goal there was to create a box out of the barrel staves from these barrels. Now, this company, they destroy the barrels every year. They don't reuse them, they don't sell them. Most wine companies sell the barrels to some whiskey companies end up aging their whiskey in wine barrels, and that's how you get that sherry or that almost that wine aroma in some whiskeys.
Yep.
But this particular company in mind, they don't. They destroy their barrels every year. They've been around for centuries in France, and they're very particular about what happens to their merchandise when they're done with it. So there's not a trace of any of this stuff on the market anywhere. But because of his relationship with his family, because he's been in the wine business his whole life, he's a third generation wine and spirits family. He was able to buy these barrels, get them sent to the United States, and assembled by a famous cabinet maker in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Now, while this is all going on, we don't have a cigar for this project yet. So I take him on a trip to meet Henke Kellner, and he takes a finished prototype box with him. And Kellner, being a huge fan of wine, is immediately drawn to the box, and we tell him the story. And he looks at his son, and they say, go get your 36th birthday blend. Now, what they do at the factory, every time it's father and son's birthday, they go through all of their tobacco supply, and they try to outdo each other on their birthday by making a better cigar than they made last year, or a better cigar than the son made for the father or the father made for the son. So they basically try to outdo each other every birthday. And they bring out the HMK 36 is the code for the blend. And needless to say, that was a fantastic blend. Yeah, very, very, very well-balanced cigar. Now, it's meant to be consumed with red wine, a Bordeaux, to be exact. And the combination of the two really create an experience that's unparalleled. 1,000 boxes made. Again, 1,000 seems to be the number that's attainable on limited edition type products.
Right.
And all the boxes were numbered, and there are probably, I would imagine, in the States, if you're lucky, you can find a total of 100 boxes still out there in circulation.
Yeah. Wow. And price point on that one, Victor?
That's a very pricey cigar, because that blend, the blends that father and son outdo each other with aren't really meant to be in production, because they're just extremely, they use all the expensive tobacco that they have. And what dictates expensive is the year and the age and the fermentation and the quality of the leaf. So, normally in a very good cigar, we have one or two of those components. In this particular cigar, it's all of those components. So the average retail price that you'll find on those cigars is anywhere from $29.95 to $35.
There you go. So there's a little bit more insight on that.
Yeah, it's neat. I never heard of that one before at all.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up, because I was feeling like a lot of people may not have heard about it, and I've tried it, and it's definitely it's a different cigar. You'll know you're smoking something different.
It's different, and and by all means, I want to get this known. It's not, most limited edition offerings are fuller bodied cigars. This is not a full bodied cigar. This is a very well balanced, almost delicate, but very elegant blend of tobacco. And this one was made by Henke Kellner Sr. for his son on his 36th birthday.
So if you get a chance, guys, I know it's a little pricey, but definitely go out and try it. I don't think you'll be disappointed for trying it, and I think you'll enjoy it. So definitely go out, give some of Victor's cigars a try. He makes a really nice cigar. There's something for everyone. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. There's something out there for everyone.
Yeah, the whole gamut he runs. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. I try to make something for everyone, and I try to make every brand stand out on its own, and that's the most important thing. Some cigar makers go the opposite route, where they'll have one trademark and several different offerings under one trademark. I chose to do it through several different trademarks and several different styles.
All right. Well, let's get to some of those other questions we got there, Mike. We're winding down in the show here, and then Victor's going to give away that double eagle to some lucky person in the chat room, excluding Tom. And only kidding, Tom. And then we'll get into some giveaways that we have, kind of like our Christmas giveaway here, and we'll go from there. So why don't you take some of the questions we missed there, Mike, in the chat, in our questions that we had. We went over all the. We didn't miss any cigar, right, Victor? I believe we got you covered, right?
I don't know. It's like sometimes having too many kids. Sometimes I forget the names myself. But
as long as you got the important kids in, we're good, right? Well, I'm going to ask you this. A lot of people, I bet we're probably going to get the same answer, but we may not. Do you have a favorite cigar that's one of yours? Is there a favorite child?
Yeah. Well, again, it's like saying that one child is your favorite over the others. But it all depends on what mood I'm in. But like you, lately I've been enjoying the 215 as often as I can lately. But honestly, when I was in Florida this week, I smoked a bunch of fuller body cigars, and this might sound surprising, but I ended my day with a hammer and sickle tradition. And normally when you smoke full bodies all day and then you end up with a lighter cigar, it's kind of a waste. But I'm just constantly surprised by that blend in particular, how it's so well balanced that it'll just stand up to a palate that's just been annihilated by fuller body cigars all day. So it all depends on what mood I'm in, on exactly what I'm smoking more. In my 50% of monogamy smoking versus my other 50% non-monogamous.
The question I like to ask is about Cuba, the Cuban tobacco, and how you see everybody's predicting that they're going to open Cuba back up. They're going to end the embargo, and people are seeing it different ways on what's going to happen. Do you see yourself going after the Cuban tobacco to use, or you might already use it because you said you are worldwide? I'm not sure if you use Cuban tobacco yet or not.
No, I don't have anything to do with Cuba. At this point in time, that question comes up actually very often. And it might sound surprising. At this time, I really don't have any interest in Cuba at this point in time. That may change, but I think if there ever is a day where the embargo is lifted, of which I am not hopeful, it's striking to me that there are some folks out there that are hopeful that Cuba will open up. First, I still to this day can't understand why we have the embargo on Cuba. But again, I still can't understand why people are hopeful it's going to be lifted. Sugar is their number one export, and the subsidies here will probably prevent that from happening anytime soon, unless it's a selective embargo in the future. I don't know. That part of politics I don't really get myself too far into. But I think that the growers, the blenders, and the factories that I work with, in fact, I know that their heritage and their legacy is for centuries, and they are the professionals, and they know what they're doing. And I feel very confident that if and when Cuba opens, that the offerings that I have will be able to stand up to a Cuban cigar. Because, let's face it, Cuban cigars are in this country.
Yeah.
I'm willing to gamble based on my data that up to 100 million Cuban cigars are consumed on this soil.
Oh, yeah.
So, folks are already smoking Cuban cigars, but yet they're still flooding into cigar shops and internet sites to buy Nicaraguan, Dominican Republic, and Honduran cigars. So I think the fantasy that if Cuba opens up, that it's going to give cigar makers like me a run for my money, I beg to differ, and I welcome the challenge.
Yeah, I think the main point I always make is the fact that even if the embargo does end, that initial flood of trying to get all those cigars into America, I think the quality of Cuban cigars has dropped drastically. It's when you get a box of Cubans, and if you smoke you smoke the whole box and you have 8 of them that are plugged, or they just don't taste the same as other ones. And I think it's going to be a big rush. They're going to try to force it out there. I think the more important factor would be like with your cigars. If you would make a cigar and incorporate, maybe just one part of a Cuban tobacco in with your blend. I think that's where it's going to actually come about, where it's going to be more productive and more beneficial to everybody than it is just with Cubans coming right out.
I agree. It's like going into your spice cabinet, and now I understand more clearly now. I guess I wouldn't want to exclude a flavor out of my cooking recipe for the rest of my life. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
Yes, but I would welcome that opportunity if it presented itself. But I would imagine that if United States opened up trade with Cuba, that Cuba's going to need all the tobacco they can get to supply their very own trademarks to the world, because the United States is the largest cigar consumption country in the world, and right now Cuba can't keep up with the demand for their cigars, only selling to Asia and Europe, and gray market in the United States pretty much runs out their production every year. So I can't imagine that when it's allowable for commerce to be on United States soil with Cuban cigars, that they would be able to keep up with demand and even allow sale of their raw tobacco to other cigar brands and other cigar makers. So I can't fathom that right now. But again, I would welcome it. I would welcome it.
Right. Well, Matt's got a question, Victor, for you. He wants to know, do you have any cigars that you distribute to the rest of the world but not the U.S.?
No.
Okay.
Everything I'm an equal opportunity distributor, so everything I offer is for the world at this point. I don't have any regional exclusives. I think that's where the question is going, or country-specific exclusive. I haven't gone down that road yet. So everything's available here that's available in other countries.
Nice.
Okay. Let's see. How about, we got a couple more here that we have. Let's talk just a little bit. We're not going to get into politics, but let's talk about, do you feel as a manufacturer, someone who distributes tobacco, do you feel it affects your sales and everything with all the regulations that have been put forth, with all the tobacco regulations out there?
Well, it does seem like they keep inching their way into exterminating. I think the word is that I want to use, exterminating the cigar smoking passion or tobacco passion from the United States. And I've been in the business a long time. I remember when you can smoke in your office. I remember when you can smoke in an elevator. I remember when you can smoke in a restaurant. I remember when you can smoke in a bar and all these great places. And smoking was a regular thing that people did.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I'm not saying that an elevator is the greatest place in the world to be smoking. I mean, there's one I happen to disagree with. Maybe you don't puff on your cigar in an elevator, but I think that the segregation that was in place before the United States is, let's say, almost a non-smoking country, because there are still a few states that allow smoking in restaurants and bars or outdoor patios.
Yep.
I think the segregation actually worked well. In my opinion, if you go to a bar and the bar is a separate place from the dining area, that smoking is to be expected there.
Yep.
Just like a craps table at a casino. I mean, I can't imagine going to a casino and playing poker, blackjack, or craps and not smoking a cigar. I can't even fathom that people would imagine that people would want to go to a casino and not expect to smell smoke. I mean, it's like going to a paint store and smelling paint. I mean, a casino and smoking go hand in hand. So, as these places keep getting eliminated off of the opportunity for cigar smokers to go, I think it limits consumption.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the great places that we still have is on the golf course, which is an outdoor area. And I think as far as sales go, to answer your question about sales, during the golf season, you do see a spike in sales because people can smoke there.
Right.
And, in the Northeast and in the colder areas in the United States in particular, let's take a look at it. I mean, the guys, your wives don't want you smoking in the house. Your kids don't want to see you smoking because schools keep telling them that it's a bad thing and it's terrible and no one should be doing it.
Yep.
And you don't want to smoke in your car necessarily because, you're going to have your mother or your father or, somebody else in the car that might get offended. So, we don't want to offend anybody with our stinky car or anything. So a lot of people are stuck into the garage or the front porch, and when it's 20 degrees outside, it's not really an enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
So I think yeah, it does affect the passion. I want to say.
Yeah.
It affects the passion.
I agree with you totally.
I do. All right. How about a giveaway?
Okay, why don't we do that, Victor? Why don't you pick one of our fine folks who joined us today in the chat room and someone, and we'll give away that double eagle.
Well, how do I do that? I mean, without being unfair. I mean, that.
Hey, why
don't we ask a question or something? Help me come up with a question that these folks can answer, and whoever gets it right first gets the prize.
Oh boy. Okay.
How about how long has Victor been in the cigar industry?
He said it several times. There you go.
Is that all right, Victor?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, guys, how long's Victor been in the industry? He said it several times on the show. First one to come up with the right answer gets it. They're thinking, Victor. Look at them. The minds are rolling. Oh, John Rebel nailed it. First one.
All right.
There you go. Jay Rebel, if you can, just kindly send your address to Stogie411 at Stogie411.com, and we will forward that to Victor, and Victor will ship that out to you. Congratulations. Enjoy it. We still got plenty of other giveaways, guys, so don't get worried, you poor guys that didn't win, But that was very nice. Well, Victor, I got one other question. We always end our show with this question, I think, and we're gonna throw it at you, and we want your honest opinion. Bloggers, love them or hate them?
I love bloggers. Yeah, I think it's great. Cigar consumers need an educated and, more importantly, a relationship with the people who are smoking and promoting these cigars as being good. I mean, let's face it, it's all opinion. Everyone's palate is different.
Yep.
And that's a fact. Like the fingerprint, which I use on the Tortuga 215, like the fingerprint, everyone's palate is a fingerprint, and everyone is tasting different things. And what you taste is going to be absolutely different than what I taste. Now, there's going to be similarities, but there's still going to be a unique flavor and taste to the individual. And I think that media is good, of course, when it's unbiased. And I think that you guys are doing a fantastic job, and I appreciate what you do. You do it well. And I think as long as opinion is taken as a suggestion to go out and try something, I think that's a very healthy thing. And I think folks should definitely take a look at opinion and definitely try cigars for themselves, and definitely smoke more than one.
Yes.
Because if you smoke cigar or any cigar once and you don't like it, or you like it, remember that every cigar is unique. It's a handmade, extremely unique process that's used, and every cigar is different. Even though it's the same brand and the same blend, there are going to be subtle differences to each cigar. So, I recommend smoking a cigar more than once before you make a decision. That's for sure.
Now, the thing I hear the most out of people, like you said, you should always smoke more than one, and I tell people the same thing. They always say, well, if I pick up a cigar and I don't like it, there's so many more to try, I don't bother going back to them. And it's hard to get through to those people how you could have just had a bad stick.
Sure. Again, it's handmade. I mean, the roller could have been having a bad day. The blender could have been having a bad day. I mean, we as people have bad days. Sometimes we say things that we don't mean to say. Sometimes we do things that we figure out our mistakes later on down the road. And these things happen. And you know what? There are a lot of cigars out there, and there's a lot of variety. And as much as I want people to smoke my cigars exclusively, I want you to go out and try as many different cigars as you can, because that's the beauty of being a cigar smoker. There's no monogamy in cigar smoking, and that's what I always say.
Good deal.
All right, go ahead, Mike.
No. I just appreciate the answer.
Yeah. Well, Victor, is there anything before we let you go? We kind of went over our allotted time with you, and we know you're a busy fella. Is there anything we didn't touch base on, or anything you want to say? Now's the time. Here's the opportunity. Let's say it before we kindly let you go.
Keep smoking. Keep your eye on that FDA thing. I know, Mike, you wanted to bring that up. I think it's important that we get involved to preserve what we have and not let anyone take it away from us, because this thing is very real.
Yep.
I know that some people are very busy. We're all very busy with our lives, with our families, with our kids, and we leave things up to our appointed leaders and members of Congress and legislation to do what's right for us. I know a lot of people have that view, but let me tell you that your agenda is very different than their agenda on most cases. And I wouldn't sit back and be a spectator in this, and I would get involved as much as you can. I know a lot of cigar companies are sending around emails where you can type a message in and contact your local House representative or senator, and I highly encourage you to do that, because just like we're not allowed to smoke in bars anymore, and just like cigars keep getting taxes on the state level raised, and just like no one ever thought that there would be a federal excise tax on imported premium cigars because the business is so small, all of these things that everyone thought would never happen. So get involved, get out there and preserve your right to smoke and enjoy your passion for premium cigars.
100% agree.
Very well said.
All right. Well, Victor, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, taking the time out. Thank you for the generosity that you've shown towards our show and our viewers. We greatly appreciate it. And I will, as soon as J Rebel sends that information, we'll forward it to you. And we look forward to having you back on the show. You're always welcome. And thanks for taking the time out today.
Thanks for having me. It was a real pleasure to join you folks today.
It was great.
Keep up with your work.
Pleasure was all ours. So we'll talk to you soon, Victor. We appreciate it.
See you, Victor.
Have a good one. Bye.
All righty. I am here by myself now, and we're going to just tell Mike to shut the hell up, and we just won't even listen to him. Actually, I do want him to talk. I want to hear I want to know if you guys can hear him. You shouldn't be able to hear him. If you did, he would have already spoken. So, anyway, we're going to go back to our lovely two-shot. There he is. Now he's back with us.
There we go. There we go.
Oh, scary, isn't it?
It is scary. Very scary. Well, listen, guys, everybody in the chat room, I wanna personally wish you all a Merry Christmas. This is our final show of the year. We will not have another show until January 7th. We will have Jonathan Drew from Drew Estate will be on, and that'll be a fun and interesting show. But I want to go over. Actually, Mikey, you have it. Why don't you tell everybody about the? Do you have the giveaways or no? Yeah, I sent them to you.
Yeah,
what we're gonna do with this giveaway is everybody who leaves a comment when this post is up. We got some nice giveaways thanks to Rich over at East Coast Cigars, and you're going to be eligible. It's our our way of saying thank you for everything that you guys you do. You take time out of your day to come see us, two schmucks, and we really appreciate it. And Mike's going to go over. Mike's going to tell you what's up for giveaway. And again, I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and nothing but just be safe and enjoy your family, because that's what's important. So go ahead, Mike, take it away.
All right. Well, let me see. I don't know if you are going to be able to see this or not. Let me try. Oh, look at that. That looks beautiful. Look at that. That is the stinky ashtray. That, what do they call it? They call it just the tall stinky.
Yep, tall stinky. Any color there you can pick.
And he also has, he said black and chrome are also available. So any of those 6 colors or black or chrome you get. And also, going to be, I'm resizing picture here. See if you can see this one too. Oh, look at that. Some Jameson cigars. He's given 7 cigars from Jameson. Now, we're doing this all as one pack, or are we going to do separate?
We can, I don't know, we'll decide, but this is a giveaway. That either all is one, as we'll give away a few of everything.
But he's given 7 cigars from Jameson, 2 Declaration, which I absolutely love, that big Declaration. I love that. I love that cigar. 2 black labels, 2 red labels, and 1 Santos de Miami. Along with the shirt, the red shirt. You might have seen me wear it at times, either out at events or reviews. I'm not sure if I might have worn it on the show here already. It's red and says "Smoke to be free."
Yeah, looks pink.
It's red. Don't worry. But even if it is pink, I'm man enough to wear it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, also we're going to give away that you guys don't know about this, but we're going to give it away. Stogie 411. We're going to give away 5 of Victor cigars, and we're going to give away a Ortsac lighter as well. So I'm throwing that in there as well from Stogie 411. So that's also going to be up for grabs. So there's a lot of nice giveaways, and all you got to do is just leave a comment. That's all we're asking. And that's pretty much it, guys. So again, I personally want to thank everybody for being in the chat room again. You guys have been very loyal to us from the day we started the show, and Mike and I and Matt, we really appreciate the support. And I hope the video and the audio was good today. We didn't seem to have any problems, so I think we got that taken care of.
That is just amazing, I think.
A lot of hard work.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work to fix that damn thing.
All these months trying to work everything out.
Yeah. So make sure you join us, guys. January 7th, 1 p.m. Excuse me. We will be back on with Jonathan Drew from Drew Estates, and that should be a good show. So that's pretty much all I got, Mikey. And unless you got anything else you want to say, I want to thank everybody again. And that's it.
I just want to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and I hope you guys and gals have a great New Year. We won't be back until the 7th, and hopefully we'll still be in good running order by then. So take care.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see you then. Tad, I'll see you on Friday, buddy. See you guys.